What's up everyone, it's the Irishman. We're back, played some 2-5 at Granville. Sun is splitting the trees today, cracking day out. What a beautiful day to sit inside and play some cards. Game's usually good out here, so we're going to jump into 2-5 for $1,000, get in the mix, see what's going down. So let's get into it. What's happening everyone? It's the Irishman. We're back again on the best week of the year. Paddy's Day this Friday, Cheltenham Horse Racing Festival all week. You can't beat it. We're heading here today to Granville to jump in the 2-5 game. We're in for $1,000. Hoping we get a bit of luck today, so let's get into the session. Kicking off the first hand, there's a $10 straddle on the button. Middle position makes it $30 to go before we look down at Ace King off in the cutoff. We're going to be raising this up here. We make it $100 to go before the button cold calls the 3-bet behind us. This is already pretty interesting. You don't see too many cold calls behind to 3-bets. The original raiser calls and we're going 3 ways to a flop. The flop comes down 9-6-5 with 2 hearts. Middle position checks to us and I think we're just going to check Ace King here. The player behind is going to have a lot of 10s and jacks when he overcalls the 3-bet. The initial raiser can have a lot of sets. He can have 7-8 on this board, so I don't think we want to do too much betting here with Ace King. We don't want to start bluffing against 2 other players on a board like this. It definitely smashes the other players way more than it hits me. We check it on over to the button and he fires out a bet of $125. Middle position gets out of the way and now I think we're going to call one here. I think he can definitely have a lot of 10s and jacks, which we've 6 outs versus. We're getting a pretty good price, so we're going to peel and see what develops on the turn. We make the call and the turn comes to 3 of clubs. We check it on over to him again and he now fires out about $350. Now I think we just have to fold. He is going to have a lot of 10s and jacks to have us beat, and even on the rare occasions that he's bluffing with a hand like say Ace Queen of Hearts, he still has a ton of equity against us. We're going to find it hard to call if he blasts off on the river, so I think we're just going to have to let our hand go. In this next hand, the straddle is on again. We look down at Ace King, except this time it's a bit more sweeter. It's suited. We've Ace King of diamonds. There's an old guy who raises to $30. We're going to 3-bet him here. We choose $110 to go. It folds back around to him and he puts in the 4-bet to $300. So now our Ace King has shriveled up. We're not really liking this. Old people don't 4-bet as a bluff, so I'd expect this hand to be queens, kings, or aces. I don't even know if he'd 4-bet Ace King himself. I think given that the hand is suited, given even against kings, we do have an ace, we still have like 30%, I think. We're going to have to call the 300, but we're definitely not liking the situation. Flop comes down Queen 9-6 rainbow with no diamonds, so we've 2 overcards, no backdoors, and he decides to make an already easy decision even easier. He just rips for 2x pot. We snap fold. Nice hand, sir. Your aces or kings were good. The next hand we look down at Queen Jack of Spades, under the gun 1. We raise it up to $20. There's an old guy in the cutoff who makes the call and the big blind completes. We're going 3 ways to a flop here. It comes down a pretty decent one. It comes 10 of spades, 4 of spades, 8 of diamonds. So we flop a gut shot straight flush draw here. We've only queen high, but a lot of potential to make a monster hand. It gets checked to us and we fire out a bet of $25. The old guy in the cutoff makes the call and the big blind gets out of the way. We're going heads up to the turn now and it comes to 7 of clubs. There's 110 in the middle. We're going to continue firing. Maybe we can get him to fold some stubborn pairs, get him off a hand like ace high, although I don't expect him to float too many ace highs, so I think we're going to fire again, maybe get him to fold some pocket pairs. We fire out a bet of $80 and he makes the call again, so needing a bit of help here going to the river, and help does not arrive. It comes to 8 of hearts pairing the 8, so there's 270 in the middle. Now I think we have a choice between bluffing or just giving up, and I decided to give up for a couple of reasons. First reason being, I think sometimes he can have some 8s. He can have a hand like 8-9 or a jack 8 hands that turn a straight draw with their pair and probably hang around and now have made trips. I don't have too many 8s myself when I bet the flop, bet the turn. Also, I think with the main draws breaking out, the flush draw and some of the straight draws miss, I think he probably will get sticky with a hand like ace-10. So we wave the white flag and give up with a check. He checks it back. I turn over my hand. He turns over king-10 of clubs for a flop top pair. Don't think we would have got him off with a bet on the river there, so we saved some money by not firing the river. The next hand of note, we look down at the sailboats in the big blind. Early position raises to $20 before 4 other players call, including the small blind. We have the easiest call of our life here in the big blind. We're hoping the flop is set. We make the call and we're going 5 ways to the flop. There's $100 in the middle and it comes down a very good one. It comes 10-4-2 rainbow, so we flop middle set. Even better news for us, the small blind leads out for $75 into 4 players. That's a sign of a strong hand. I don't think we want to raise. I usually would recommend fast playing hands, especially in live poker, but given the board so dry, given there's no flush draw, we want to call, hope some other players come along, maybe hit some 2 pairs. We make the call and unfortunately everyone else folds. We're going heads up to the turn here. It comes to Queen of Hearts. Small blind now checks it over to us. There's 250 in the middle, and I decide this time to go for a smaller sizing. I think if they did have a really good hand, they'd continue to barrel the turn. I think they can have a lot of 10x here, so we don't want to blow them off their hand just yet. We fire out a bet of $100 and they hang around to see another card. River comes to 5 of hearts. Changes nothing. I don't expect them to ever have a straight here. I think if they did somehow lead out with a hand that was an open ender on the flop, they'd bet the turn. So we're going to go for a big size here, make a polar, hope they get curious and look us up. We fire out a bet of $350 to send a small blind into the tank. After a while in the tank, they eventually make the call. We turn over our hand. It's the winner and we're scooping over a 1k pot. In the next hand, an old guy opens to $20 from early position. The button calls and I look down at ace-8 of diamonds in the small blind. Usually I play a lot of 3-bets out of the small blind, but given the fact that the guy that raises is an older dude and he's in early position, so he should have a tighter range, I think I don't really want to do too much 3-betting. We just end up getting called and going to the flop, dominated a lot. Folding seems out of the question. It seems pretty nitty to fold this hand, so we're just going to peel the small. The big blind comes along and we go 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes down ace-10-9 with 1 diamond, so we flop top pair, we kicker. We check it on over to the initial aggressor and he fires out a bet of $30. We make the call and only the 2 of us go to the turn. Turn comes to 4 diamonds, so now if we are behind to a better ace, we do pick up a flush draw. We check it on over to him again and he fires out a bet of $85. Not much we can do here except call, hope that a diamond comes on the river. We make the call and the river comes the 9 of clubs. We check it on over to him again and he fires out a small bet of $110. This looks so milky. In my gut, I know we should fold. I don't think this guy is ever bluffing, but before I ended up folding, I ended up just leveling myself into thinking that he would check back a lot of hands on the river because I should have not more 9x than him, but maybe he's not even thinking about that. He doesn't even care about that, and in the end, curiosity gets the better of us. We pay him off a small milky bet knowing we're more than likely losing. We should have just clicked the fold button, and he shows up with a hand we did not expect to see. He shows Queen 9 off for river trips. We were ahead the whole way. This definitely changes my opinion on him. I thought he was the tight old guy from under the gun, but little did we know he's opening up the Queen 9 off ball and blasting 3 streets, river in his trips. This is good information to have and it could make us some more money in the future because now we know he's just not the tight old guy. He's playing some questionable hands that he shouldn't be playing. He's betting 3 streets when he shouldn't, so we paid off for some decent information there. Yeah, we didn't win the hand, but I think if we get into a hand with him in the future, we can definitely change our assumptions about this kind of player. In the next hand, a good reg makes it $20 to go under the gun before the 2 players to his left call. We look down at ace-king off in the big blind. We're not going to be calling, taking this 4 ways to a flop. We have a pretty strong hand here. We're going to want to raise this up and we're going to want to go big because we're in the big blind. We make it $140 to go. Only the original raise or calls and we go heads up to the flop. Flop comes down, not a great one. It comes 10-8-6 rainbow. I think we made a mistake here. We decided to go for a check just because he's going to have all the sets which we're not going to have, and I think we should have went for the bet anyways. We could have bet small because we're still going to have all the aces, kings and queens, so we definitely misplayed the flop. I think we thought he was going to float a lot and put us under a lot of pressure, so we went for the check. He fires out a bet of $100 and we make the call. Turn comes at 6. Doesn't change too much. 7-9 now gets there as a straight, but I don't think he's going to be calling that wide versus the 3-bet out of the big blind. He did raise under the gun, so he still should be pretty snug. We check again and he fires out a bet of $250. Now with the backdoor flush draw coming in, I think we should probably be folding, but in game we leveled ourselves into thinking that his main value was going to come from sets. I don't think he really has any 2 pairs. He shouldn't really have any straights. And I think he also is going to be bluffing with a lot of hands like Queen Jack suited, King Jack suited, stuff like this will probably try put us under pressure, especially when we check twice, thinking he can fold a hand like Ace King, Ace Queen, start putting us on pressure on different runouts, even if we do have an overpair. So we end up leveling ourselves into a call. River now comes a 4, meaning any 7 is a straight. We check it over to him and he puts us all in for our last 650. We should probably just fold now, but if you can see where this is heading, we start putting on our football boots. I think I can feel a punt incoming. We think that he will bluff off hands like Queen Jack suited, all these hands that we think he's bluffing with. I think on this run out, he's always going to jam the river just to put most of our hands in a really tough spot. So in game, I ended up leveling myself. I end up flicking the call button in. He turns over 7-8 of clubs for a flop pair that he turned into a bluff and river the straight. So this makes the punt even worse. I completely butchered the hand and underestimated him and didn't think he was good enough to turn pairs into a bluff. So he actually is bluffing with the best hand, and if he hadn't made a straight, he probably still jams the river. We end up calling him off and he ends up getting paid with a bluff. So this is really, really poorly played by me. It's nothing like a massive punt to remind you, you're not as good at this game as you think you are. I lost over $1,000 there in one hand, putting on the hero cape, trying to make the genius call. It would have looked unreal had it have come off, but instead we end up looking very, very dumb. After a couple of top-ups and that massive punt, we're now into the game for $3,000, hoping to claw some of that back, and surprise, surprise, we got our absolute disaster hand, Ace King again. We're 0 for 3 with it today. We've lost a ton of money, so let's see if we can change that. Under the gun raises to $15, and we 3-bet to $60 to go. They make the call, and we go heads up to a flop. Flop comes down Jack 6-8 with 2 hearts and 1 club. Checks it over to us, and we bet $40. Under the gun makes the call. Turn now comes the 2 of clubs, bringing in a backdoor flush draw. Under the gun checks again, and we come out blasting. We fire out a turn barrel of $125, hoping to get a lot of folds from pocket pairs. That's not what happens. Under the gun makes the call, and we go to the river, needing some help again, and surprise, surprise, it doesn't come. Comes the Jack of clubs, pairing the top card and bringing in the backdoor flush draw. I think we should probably give up because they should have a decent amount of jacks and they'll probably have more flushes than we have, although we can certainly have some ace king of clubs, ace queen of club type hands. But when you're taking a beating today, we don't want to just check it back. We're going to fire, try and make them fold a pocket pair. We fire a bet of $140, not to go too big, just so it looks like we can still be going for value with hands like kings, queens, aces. Another gun goes into the tank before eventually flicking in the 1-chip call. That's not good news. I think we just got looked up by pocket 9s, pocket 10s type hand, but to our surprise, another gun turns over ace jack for river trips. So really surprising that they didn't go for the river raise. I think I could have still been going for some Tim value with overpairs, so they definitely missed some value if I did have one of them hands, and unfortunately ace king is no good for us again. We open a6 of hearts to $20. The player beside us 3-bets to 55. He's been super active all day, 3-betting way more than he should be. Very aggro post flop. So after the small blind calls, we're putting the foot down. We're not going to stand for this anymore. We make a 4-bet to $210. We've given them the look. Get out of that garden. Stop walking on me flowers. Both of them make the fold. They know we're putting the foot down. We're not having this anymore. We're going after anyone that comes at us. They know they're stuck. They're going after us with 3-bets. So we have to let them know we're coming back with 4-bets straight to the eyeball. In this hand, the aggro guy that was to our left last hand has now moved to my direct right. He was up chunks early, but then he lost his stack. He's in for a couple of more buy-ins, so he's probably the only man at the table tilted more than I am. He opens to $30 under the gun, and I make the call the next seat over with pocket 8. The button makes the call, and we go 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes down 9-4-2 rainbow, and he continues with a bet of $55. This is as good a flop as you can hope for with pocket 8s. There's no overcards up there, no picture card, so we're going to make the call, and the button makes the call behind. Turn comes a 6, pretty much a blank, and he goes all in for his last $210. We're not folding. We know he's on tilt. He has way too much bluffs here than he should have. I'd say he's just blasting in any overcards that he has. He just wants to take the pot down now. So we decide to stick in the call. The button makes the call as well. So we're hoping he doesn't have a 9, but we could be in bad shape if he's after calling behind. River comes a 4, and the only good thing is that the button can't really bluff because there's a dry side pot with the player all in. He has 0 incentive to bluff. So this is more than likely going to go check, check. We check it over to the button. He checks back. Under the gun, player announces pocket 5s. We turn over our pocket 8s, and they're the winners, and we scoop a decent pot there to get us back in the game. that wraps up the session. Thanks for tuning in. Got the Ireland gear here on. It's Paddy's Day tomorrow. We'll be heading to the park for our Paddy's Day vlog. Gonna have a bunch of Guinness, play some fun hands, splash about, and then head to the Irish Festival later on. We ended up being into the game for 3k. We were stuck 2.5k at one stage and got out for 21.30 for a loss of 870. Doesn't feel as bad when you're buried and you get out of a hole to finish with a modest enough loss. Feels pretty good, which is weird because sometimes you'd be up heaps early and then finish up small and leave tilted. Makes no sense, but if you play poker you know that feeling. Couple of announcements. I'll be dropping the Instagram and Only Poker page below, so please check them out. We're going to have daily updates from out at the Irish Open, and to launch them pages I'm going to give away 10% of my action to 3 different people, so 30% total for the mini Irish Open. I'm heading back to Ireland next Friday for the Irish Open Poker Festival. If you see me out there, come say hi. Should be good crack. So you can gain an entry by commenting on the YouTube your biggest winning session. On the Instagram I'll have a post up, comment favourite hand, and on the Only Poker comment your biggest losing session. So for each of them you'll gain 1 entry. I'll pick 3 winners to win 10% of the action. Hopefully we can bink the tournament, win everyone a few quid. As always, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your Paddy's Day. Watch Ireland beat the Brits Saturday morning. Hit the subscribe button and I'll see you soon.